Not to be
Far
stressed
from
about
that,
that
far
now.
from that. No, far from that.
All right, we're streaming now.
Okay.
Smooth 98.1, love music, love life. This is the Grapevine, and it's Zibby here. I've got my analysts in, but before I introduce my analysts, I'll let you know how you can be a part of the conversation. The WhatsApp number is 0809 4440981. You can also tweet at smooth981, and we're streaming live on our YouTube channel as well. So you can catch the live stream up on YouTube. It's Smooth981. Just search for Smooth981 and you can catch the live stream. And that is all you need. All right. Our analysts are in. It's Oris and James.
Yeah. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Zibby. Wherever you're listening from, we're live. Oris, over to you.
Good morning, Lagos. Hi, Zibby and
Hello.
Mr. James. Nobody understands why your video is not on.
You just had to out James,
No,
didn't you?
you'll be fine. You'll be fine. They can hear us. This is radio.
All right. Well, let's get into the conversation again. 0809 4440981. Starting off with, well, I think she's a bit of Nigeria's sweetheart. You know how in the US you have the sweetheart, it was Meg Ryan, and then who became America's sweetheart after Meg Ryan? It slipped my head. Oris?
I I think that spot is has been vacant after Meg Ryan and Julia Roberts' heyday.
Right, right. So those were the sweethearts. So I guess in Nollywood, people kind of see Genevieve as the sweetheart as well. I mean, she's beautiful, she's a talented actress. Well, anyways, she says that despite the success of Lionheart, which is the movie that she did a few years ago, she says that she didn't find the type of support she needed in Hollywood to actually do more at the time. And she said Hollywood made her feel just like a commodity. Is she a commodity?
Uh, well, I think that the real thing here is thinking America would love you for being who you are to Africans. They don't care about Africa.
And
Yes,
this
I
is
think
like
that's
an
the thing, right?
arrow to the heart.
Exactly. Yeah. So I guess Genevieve, maybe I'm not sure. Kind of expected that given who she is over there, the same kind of vibe would obtain. But America is just as insular as Nigeria is, frankly. And unless you appeal to their core audience, I do not think that they would care a lot about you. So I think that came as a kind of shock to Genevieve. I remember interviewing her a few years ago, after maybe a year or 2 years after the film was supposed to do it for us. That failed to do it for us. What is the name? Half of a Yellow Sun,
Is that
the
line?
Chomanda Ngozi
Oh,
Adichie adaptation.
right.
Yes, that was supposed to be Nollywood's big entry into global cinema. Well, it failed. I have to say it. I mean, how many years after I have to admit that, that entire thing failed. And I guess Genevieve, who had just a bit part, if you remember clearly, people expected her to play the main role in it, but it went to Tandy Newton instead. And
Yeah.
Genevieve played like a very tiny, tiny role in it. I recall
And she
asking
was
her.
drunk in that role.
Yes, exactly. So I remember asking her about the experience, and she said she only did it because she felt the story was important to her people, which, of course, I get. But as I said, because the film did not capture the American audience, in a lot of ways, it failed to do what it was supposed to do, both for Genevieve and for the industry as well. So I think all of these years later, when she was in Toronto, because I remember, I think Lionheart wasn't acquired in Nigeria. It showed up at the Toronto International Film Festival, and that was where Netflix saw it. So, in a certain sense, that's why it had the money it had. I don't think any other film has received the rumored amount that film received. But that amount of money wasn't enough if you are thinking about a Hollywood film.
Right.
So, in a certain sense, Genevieve kind of she might have. I don't want to speak like I was there. She might have overestimated her importance to an industry that is way, way bigger than the place she's coming from. So of course it must hurt, but I think she would have to take it on the chin and say, hey, what else is possible? I do not really think that the space we are in currently, mainstream Hollywood, has the capacity to capture Hollywood's attention, frankly. And honestly, if Genevieve couldn't crack it, I do not think that anybody else in the mainstream space can crack it. So right now, what is happening is people are using the festival route to get that attention.
Right.
So younger filmmakers like CJ Obasi, like Daniel Oriahi, are getting into some of these highly regarded Western festivals. And that might be the easiest route to kind of play in that space. Mainstream America is shut out for now. So, but maybe if you go through the indie circuit, through this festival route, through the art house cinema, maybe then you can get their attention. And Genevieve was always mostly a mainstream artist, let's face it, you know. She's done a few, I think her last film now, I Do Not Come to You by Chance, another adaptation, was in Toronto, also showed up in Rotterdam as well. But again, these are not Genevieve strongholds. It's not a mainstream film. So I do not think, frankly. Yeah, anyway, she just has to recalibrate her expectations.
Right. I mean, black actors in Hollywood who are American are struggling to be accepted. So
exactly.
it's a
Imagine
bit of
that you
a
walk
reach,
in
right?
as an African. Nah, it's not going to happen that easily.
Wow. James, what do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, what we said, and of course, it's a commodity. It's business. I mean, no matter how you look at it, I don't know if she was expecting, I don't know what exactly she was expecting. But Hollywood is Hollywood. Yeah, Hollywood is Hollywood. Hollywood is very iconic. They are very, very elitist in the grand scheme of things, you know. So there's no way, even if you're number one in Africa here, that they will accord you, even if they respect your art or your craft or how your performance, they still will. Plus you're black, Africa, not African American.
Africa.
Africa. You're blackity black.
Yeah, they don't really care, you know. So I mean, like you said, if the blacks there are struggling with, you know, the level of recognition or, you know, respect that they should get there for their performances, here, I mean, you now come from here to that. I mean, they will see as I mean, you look at the numbers, and so I don't even know, you know, when it comes to Lionheart in terms of the business. And don't forget that Lionheart came at a time where Netflix was also very new to us here. So when it comes to even with engagements, views, numbers, money, I don't know if the platform broke even with that with the movie. So sometimes we look at after we spent XYZ amount, you know, for the pedigree or for the level to which Genevieve is supposed to be on.
Right.
So right now, I mean, if you look at the numbers, if you look at what's happening right now, I mean, did Genevieve make not trying to compare, did she make Funke Akindele numbers? Do you understand? When it comes to commodity, being a commodity, who do you think will stand a better chance when it comes to the numbers and, you know, the mathematics? So, but I don't think she was saying from a place of I think it was from a place of reflection, so to speak. Maybe not sadness, but
it looks to me. It looks, James. It looks to me like she was speaking more from a place of shock
or disappointment.
Exactly. Like, but how did this happen? And I know in the industry there's a little bit of a rumor in Nollywood circles that Netflix overpaid for Lionheart. And after that particular experience, they haven't been inclined to giving that amount of money to any other Nigerian
well, shout
producer.
out to Genevieve Energy. She made her coins, man. We love a hardworking woman that makes money. Who knows how to negotiate? All right, 0809 444 0981. It does seem like, well, people are lawyering up at the moment. And this one has to do with Wizkid and Terry G. Now, Wizkid's lawyer served Terry a takedown notice over an Uncleared song.
Yeah.
Okay, James, please.
Yeah, it's not like they're lawyering up right now. They've always, I mean, once you get to a level in this industry, in fact, we always advise that before you start putting out your first records and stuff, get a lawyer. You may not be able to afford a lawyer, but look, I mean, you need to have a friend or look for a friend from school or something. He might not even have graduated, but the guy at least is reading law and can understand.
I don't think that's a good advice.
Okay. I don't think that's a good advice, James.
I'm just saying. Okay, so but moving on from that, I'm just saying you need a lawyer. So and these days the music industry has changed, and I like the fact that Terry G acknowledged it, because if you read the story or if you have watched the interview, you see that eventually he acknowledged the fact that oh, he's not mad at the fact that Wizkid's lawyers, and these days it's not even Wizkid might not even know about it. It can just this is how it is. It happens that the lawyers will always expect that any song, and don't forget that this song has been released. I mean, has been created many years ago and probably was not released at the time. And you know how it is. At that time, Telji was way up there. Not Telji, while this guy was pretty much upcoming. And you know how it is when you have a prospect or upcoming artist, a lot of big artists will quickly connect and make music together with you just to tap into your balls at that point in time. And after that, if you go beyond, great. If not, well, all well and good. So they had recorded that song way earlier, and then you now wait until right now to want to put out the record. I don't know. It wouldn't have even had the same impact, or the sound, the quality of the record can never be as satisfactory as what we have or what's obtainable right now, no matter what you even do to it. So I can understand that Wizkid's lawyers would have said, hey, put the songs down. Sometimes it might even be the lawyers that even wrote Terry G. It might have been one of his streaming partners or something, platforms that would have written to say, put that record, it's not clear. Because we have that happening every other day in the industry. Even personally, I have an experience of that from my own label where, an artist that we did the record with, he didn't do it to us directly, but we got like a memo saying that all songs that he collaborated on should not be released till a certain time. And if you put out your own record, or people that put out their record or their collaborations before that date, they just once you just upload in terms of in space of 24 hours or something, you get notification. The platforms that are releasing it will get a notification for them to take it down, and that's it. You must clear. Even if we record, even if you're my guy as Oris that will do a song together, so long as we're not on the same level, we don't, we've not had any conversation to say, oh, yeah, good to go. They'll take it down. It must be cleared. That's what's obtainable right now. That's the process or the what needs to be done right now. It must be cleared. So I might have recorded that song last week, and this week I don't feel like I sound great on the song. I don't feel like I like the lyrics of that song right now again. And I can just tell you, like, yo, don't put out that song yet. We need to do something on it again. And that's what it is. So that's what exactly would have happened to Terry G. But like I said,
the strategy of leaking the song. So Terry doesn't put it out there himself. Someone else puts it out there, and then Terry's gonna come out and say, "Look, I recorded this song 20 years ago, and someone stole my hard drive and leaked it."
No, that's fine, but let's not hear that you're trying to sell it and selling under your name. That's what we want to hear.
Well, okay, so what's her name? Did Kim Kardashian sell something and make some money off it? Something that shouldn't have been released.
Zibby, you're a comedian. How is that? What does that have to do with this one?
I'm just saying, like, you should profit off it. It's your hard work.
But I think James's analysis is more about how do I put it now? It's more about the legal implications of what has happened, But I think it's the personal angle here. I don't know if you remember, but 3 or 4 years ago, maybe about 4 years ago, actually, Ricardo Banks put out a song featuring Wizkid that they had done earlier. 4 years ago, during the pandemic.
And Wizkid blessed him on social media with some curses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he put out a song recorded with Wizkid earlier, maybe like a year or 2 years before that particular point. And Wizkid quoted that particular tweet where Ricardo was trying to promote the song and insulted Ricardo Banks about it. So my point is, James has given the legal and the administrative parts, but I think it's also a Wizkid angle to this. The point is, I do not think that where Wizkid is at musically, he can, he feels entirely comfortable with Wizkid pre-Sony music. You understand? So I think there's a lot of changes that have happened with Wizkid's music. So I'm not sure it's very comfortable anymore having certain songs be under his name in the public space. Exactly. So what exactly would a Wizkid benefit from a Terry G in 2024? The truth of the matter is nothing, zero. You understand? Yeah. So what has just happened? The only good thing about this is that Wizkid hasn't gone the insult route like he did 4 years ago, but it's exactly the same spirit of how we treated Ricardo Banks. That's exactly what is happening now. I did a song with you years ago. maybe we weren't comfortable, or maybe whatever the reason behind it, the song wasn't put out at the time. Now I am trying to get another essence. I am trying to show up here with this whack track from years ago. So I think yes, Wizkid is not in the same place he was in at the time he recorded that song, and so he doesn't believe that such records should be put out in a public space as we speak. So yes, there's a legal part of it, and there's a legal part of it, but I also think there's a very Wizkid angle to what has happened with Terry G.
All right, let's look at a message coming through, and this is from Tayo. Okay. Tayo says, I had to leave the Ojude Oba in Ijebu Ode to be on the Grapevine, aka the James and Oris show.
Thank you, Tayo.
That's the podcast. You can catch it on YouTube, the James and Oris show. It's on YouTube. All right, Tayo says, entertainment business is serious business. Genevieve won Netflix 0 with shyness. Student of law is different from practitioner of law. It's like Wizkid has too much monopoly. Ali says, Zibby, your side hustle should be PR managing. What I actually do that on the down low. So yes, now the work we do. Okay, do stay with us. The conversation continues on the other side.
James,
James,
did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say that what you just said now, and this guy Wizkid, sound, like you said, what he sounded like before. Apart from that sound, the value of Wizkid as at that time compared to now has changed. So now, talking about benefits, this guy might still benefit based on, say, featuring Wizkid, and people will go and check with featuring Wizkid, and then they'll get there and be wondering, what are they talking about?
That's Terry benefiting, not Wizkid. So it's like
that's what I'm saying.
Terry, praying on Wiz.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That Wizkid would have looked at them if because with that collaboration, even with the split sheet, what he's going to ask for would have changed by now compared to what they did before, And also I say that they did the song based on love or based on mutual. That now is not what it is anymore.
Love my behind. What nonsense love?
But this just goes to show how. Look, because I knew you before doesn't mean we're still on that level right now.
Of course,
exactly.
Like, stay in the past.
Of course, the value has changed. Things have changed.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
But Wizkid is too rude, I beg. That's my own belief, Shana. The boy is too rude.
He's so arrogant. Jeez, like, Negro, humble yourself just a little bit.
I say, such a rude boy.
Like, the guy's shoulders are higher than his head.
Higher than his height. It's funny, right? Because Davido is a rich kid, but he doesn't have the same kind of.
But that's the difference. Rich kids are usually very chill. It's the ones that money misroad. The ones that right.
So I think the rich kids, it's two extremes. It's either they are super arrogant or they are just super chill. And Davido is super chill.
Look
because
at
the thing is possible. Well. I don't think Wizkid have ever done something like that.
Hi. All right, we're going on. It's the Grapevine on Smooth 98.1. Zibby here, the analysts are in. It's Oris and James.
Yeah.
All right, reflex. I stepped away from the mic, even though I didn't need to.
I saw you.
I'm sorry, James. Okay, well, it's the Grapevine, and yes, would love to get your thoughts on the stories we're speaking about. 0809 444 0981. That is the WhatsApp number. You can also tweet at Smooth981. Just post a comment on the live stream. We're streaming live on YouTube. Smooth981 is the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. And it's always a good thing to actually catch the live stream, because even when the mics are not on, the conversation doesn't stop. And so you certainly don't want to miss out on that. But let's look at the next story. And this one has to do with Simi. Simi has announced her 6th studio album. It's called Lost and Found.
Oh, incredible. 6, I'm a little surprised that she has 6 albums now. I'm a little stunned actually. But does that include the EPs with files? I think she has 1, or is it 2 with files? So I'm not even sure if it's.
I don't think it includes that one. That one is an EP. It doesn't include that one.
She has 6 full-length albums. I'm so stunned by this. I think her best work, to be honest, sadly, I guess, is in the past. sadly, because I think it
Oh,
was
well.
Simisola. No, I'm serious. Simisola, the album that had one guy that had, I think, same album that had Joromi.
Yeah, that's our second album.
Yeah, that's also, yes. I think my point is, I think that's our best. It's definitely our best written album, in my view, and probably our biggest album as well. So I mean, good for her. Sixth album, that's really a lot. I'm so surprised by that because even Burna Boy doesn't have 6 or 5, the same amount of albums, I think. So anyway, good for her. Hopefully, this recaptures the heights she reached with Simisola back in the day, because I haven't felt quite the same way about her since the singles from that particular album dropped. In my head, I think sometimes that the whole idea of getting married for a pop star does something not particularly great to the music. So maybe this is her chance to prove me wrong, because yes, I just feel like since the whole marriage thing, I haven't quite felt that artistic edge she has kind of regained it.
James?
Okay, just checking quickly as Oris was talking, and yes, the song with Faz is actually an album, also part of it, even though it was called an EP at the time, but
it was an EP.
recorded.
That's not an album, James, because it like 6 or 4
I'm
songs.
saying that in the books on her Wikipedia, it was recorded as an album, studio albums.
Wikipedia has recorded people that don't have that are not very smart. So that's my.
And this is why no one should ever believe what they see on Wikipedia. Anyone with access to the internet can edit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's what they put there for her. But however, if we go by strictly based on albums, then it will be the first one would have been Ogaju, and then the second one would have been Simisola, which I even think would have been the first album officially, really. And then
yes, for certain people's careers, it would have been our first album. Actually, you are right.
Yeah,
very correct.
You know, then that other Omochali Champagne Omochali Champagne, the one that had the Father song, and that's another not a bad album as well. I think. Then yeah, so I'm actually looking forward to this one. I don't know. I'm very in between. Do you understand? I mean, I know that Tim is a very creative young lady. I think that she's talented, genuinely and truly talented. And I have my fingers crossed to see or to hear what this album in wholesomeness is going to sound like. Yeah, I'm rooting for her really, and it's not really easy. As well for even the women or the female artists in this industry, in fact, globally. So, but yes, always anytime, any day, I support and I look forward to it.
All right, let's look at some of the messages coming through. Taya says, everyone has seen everything about Kim Kardashian. Unless she ingests a camera, there's nothing new about her. Well, she's earning royalties on her work from the past.
What are you talking? Royalties? How about Zibby? Royalties.
Okay. Eva Kun from Ketty says, I love Genevieve to bits. She's a queen and is so cool. Unfortunately, Hollywood is a hard nut to crack, and even A-list actors with big budget movies flop in Hollywood. Women in Hollywood are fighting for equal pay with men, but it's even harder for Black women. Just listen to Viola Davis with her EGOT and Taraji on their struggles for equal recognition with white women in the industry. So imagine an African woman in Hollywood, and that is African with a capital, in fact, 2 A's. I think the issue with Simi is her voice range and style, which is niche. She hasn't been as versatile as AG Baby. All right. Let's move on to the next story.
Zibby, sorry. That sounds to me like the person who just commented is trying to pitch husband versus wife. That doesn't seem fair.
Even good, we shall not allow that. But it's coming from a creative perspective. Simi certainly might need to evolve a bit, though. Adekunle did kind of change himself a bit.
Yes, but I don't think it's very. Anyway, to be honest, I've always felt like the Adekunle Gold change is fraudulent. Frankly, I've always thought it's very fraudulent, because if you remember, when Adekunle Gold showed up doing his whole ire kind of vibe, people were praising it as something alternative and deep and everything. Suddenly, the man turned into a Davido, and we expected to think that this is great for the music. I just feel like there's something not quite, like I said, something very hypocritical about the way people took the switch from this deep artist into somebody who is incredibly pop talking about money, talking about girls, talking about parties. You know, I feel like people criticize the mainstream artists for doing it. Suddenly, somebody who showed up from the so-called alternative space does it, and we are expected to think that that's like a great thing. That's heavy hypocrisy.
You know what? Someone told me
So
that
wait,
he knows the
Oris.
reason for the change, but it's not something I can legally say on air.
No,
Okay.
but come on,
James?
it's there, it's open. It's not. I don't think it's hidden. Everybody, it's commercial. It's money. It's about it's about the money really. And if you look at it, I wanted to ask Oris that. I mean, hypocritical on whose part? Is it on Adekunle's part, or the industry itself, or the
Okay,
fans?
so
Also, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
James. Okay. Okay, yeah. So I think it's hypocritical on Adekunle Gold's PR machine. So that's Adekunle's team. You know, they played it up as something that we should embrace. Meanwhile, they were the same people who kind of marketed him as this deep, spiritual, religious, I don't know, philosophical artist. You know, so I'm like, okay, you guys are trying to make that happen for him so that we'll think that, hey, this is the kind of person he is. Suddenly, he changes the haircut, starts to go to the gym, he starts to sing about girls, and we expected to still think of this person as incredibly great. Meanwhile, the reason why you positioned him in the first place was to say, hey, you listen to David, you listen to Wizkid, this is the alternative to that. Suddenly, he becomes one of them, and we're supposed to accept that as well. So there's hypocrisy both on the level of his own team and as well as the fans who try to make us look like, hey, we are bad for telling him, for saying that he's hypocritical. It's a very hypocritical move, and I would never ever, I just always feel like, you know what, something is wrong about that entire action. Of course, you're right, it's about money. I understand the money angle, but don't make this person look like somebody who is incredibly refining. He's not doing anything different. He's singing about the same girls that everybody has always sang about.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Victor Shewan via WhatsApp says, actors can act in different movie genres. Why can't musicians express music through different genres?
What is this about? Why? It feels like criticizing for something we did not say. Who said anything about it?
I see what he means.
I'm going to answer quickly.
Yes, in 30 seconds.
It's not like you cannot express yourself however you want. And just that when it comes to music, we want to know exactly what your focus is, your niche is. Because if you're just
exactly
Beyonce is a country music star right now.
I mean,
no, she's not.
Well, okay, she has released some country music, so we can call her a country music act.
We can't call her that. I'm sorry, she's a pop
Why can't
really? Mistakenly made country music.
Mistakenly. Oh wow. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Bosun from Surulere says, once you have a family to take care of, you do what you need to do. What have Dare Alade and Brimo achieved? I'm not too sure what you mean by that, but
that is sure so no. I get what he's saying. I get exactly what he's trying to say. That's very harsh, Bosun. He's saying that
because of the style of music they do.
No, exactly. Yes. So he's trying to say that these people were also people who are alternative artists, and he doesn't believe that they made enough money to be able to, I guess, show up to pop out. You get. Adekunle Gold has done exactly that, and hopefully can feed his family from making that switch. He's saying Brimo and Dare didn't quite do those same things. And to be honest, as a Nigerian, I get it. As a person who listens to the music, though, I understand the messaging. I'm not entirely sure that that's entirely fair to say. I think Brimo is doing.
I know that these men are doing very well for themselves and their families.
And I think Dare even switched, him and his wife. I think they do like live music stuff these days, and there's a ton of money.
They have a production.
So I think everybody's fine.
All right. Well, Shokuti is not too fine because he says that the media have given Burna Boy credit for the records he set. Now, they say that Burna Boy is being widely reported as the first artist to play Coachella in 2020. Well, Shewon actually did perform almost a decade earlier, in fact, like 8 years earlier in 2012.
Yeah, I think this is something that Shewon has to work out with his team. Shewon, the Kuti, to be honest, I've always had a very terrible PR machine maybe in Africa, at least in Nigeria, because I think that some of their records are very well known in Europe. I remember being in an event one time, and I was with a German, and the German guy was telling me, this was in VI. He kept telling me that the way they received Shewon and Femi here was inferior to the way they were received in his country, that is in Germany, and even across Europe as well. So I think people know these things about them, overseas, but over here, I think they really don't care. So it's kind of their fault, frankly, because I don't think they care a lot about letting us know the things they've actually recorded as a family and as individuals. So yes, I get it. I understand the displeasure because you are listening to this and someone is telling you that, oh, Burna Boy did this. I'm like, I did this thing like almost 10 years before this guy even showed up. So it isn't quite right. The Grammy thing too is also the same thing with the Kutis have always had like maybe like 5 or 6, which are across the family, and Phil has 2 or 3. You get? So he was there first. But nobody remembers that when you're discussing the Grammys in Nigeria. It's always Burna Boy. So I understand a little bit of it, but to be honest, he has to direct that anger to his team and not to Burna Boy.
All right, let's see. Taya says, let Beyonce go to the back of the class with her country music jaw. Seun Kuti had to let the smoke on his IG calm down before checking the records. He's finally welcome to the group chat. Ibukun from Ketty says, James, your focus and philosophy can change. I don't agree with Oris that it is hypocritical, but a commercial realization. All right, we're out of time, but great news. We know Ashanti and Nelly are back together. We know they're expecting a baby. We know they've been engaged, but apparently they've been married secretly since December. How did they keep it under wraps? Yes.
Interesting.
I didn't do that.
Wow. That's interesting.
Indeed.
Very interesting, actually. They should invite us to the naming ceremony, Sha.
I'm not waiting for an invite. I'm crashing it. Like, I'm crashing it. Hopefully, they won't bundle me the way they were bundling people off that red carpet in Cannes. But yes.
Fingers crossed on that one.
That is all the time that we have for the Grapevine this morning. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks, James and Oris. You can catch the podcast. It's the James and Oris Show on YouTube. Yeah. And Tayo has to slip something in. And he says, Nelly and Ashanti, best in minding their business. That is
Indeed.
All right, do stay with us. There's a lot more to come on the Smooth Breakfast. Thanks, fellas.